Christine and Tim.
Christine, Sofran, Nitin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
But this world, as big as it is, one person can be the tipping scale to really create a domino effect that no one ever seen coming. I would like to remind people, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to judge you and tell you you're too naive.
So hi everyone, and welcome back to day 2 of the 3-part marketing system to rapidly grow your personal brand and income. My name is Christine and Tim. I'm your host for this live masterclass, and I am just so thrilled to be engaged with you guys again on this topic. Now, we are wrapping up on a very powerful conversation. This is something that I believe is such an important one to have, especially for my entrepreneurs in the room who are struggling to build personal brands that both profitable, lucrative, but also impactful in today's digital age. And I think from my experience of being an entrepreneur who has built and, scaled multiple initiatives over the past decade, I have found that a lot of entrepreneurs who struggle to really stay relevant, scale businesses effectively, maintain revenue profits, build wealth, usually don't have a strong personal brand. And again, I made it very clear yesterday, it's not about the glitz and glamour of what we typically think personal branding is about. It's about the tangible and practical value of who you are as a person, the experiences that you've accumulated over the years as an entrepreneur. How do you leverage that to not only build new and multiple revenue streams for your business, but also for you as an individual as you go through career transitions, life transitions? It's such a powerful, not only insurance tool for your career, but also a way to stay fulfilled, stay on purpose, and stay committed to the vision that you're trying to bring out to the world. So I wish nothing but the best for all of you who are on this session. And I'm so happy to have this tangible conversation with you. So going back to day one is where we laid out the actual system, right? What is this personal brand flywheel? This is like the most simplified way of describing to you the 3 things that you need to do on a regular basis, or that you need to have in place. That's probably more clear. What you need to have in place to actually monetize your personal brand and keep it relevant in today's market. What I found, and I went through a bunch of, challenges and reasons why people are usually not having a brand that actually yields results, is for a lot of reasons, but a lot of us has been lied to and thought that, posting a lot of content, posting on social media, doing all the busy things will get you the visibility and clout and ROI that you expected. But we live in a different age where doing more work is not usually the best work. You got to be more strategic with your time and your inputs. And what I found, because I audit thousands of entrepreneur profiles all the time as the CEO of the global startup ecosystem, we accelerate 1,000 companies every single year to market from idea to launch. And through that process, I'm also through our Tech Summit community, we are also meeting established founders who are in the market, have done really well, but are struggling to stay relevant. And one of the biggest things that they say is like, I'm doing everything right. And when I audit their profiles, go through the back end, go through their routines, go through their daily files, I realize that they don't have these three things in place. I wanted to share that secret and strategy and system with you so you understand that you could do all of the things. You could apply all the new strategies that are being told in the market on a daily basis through social media, through other gurus. But if you don't have these three things in place, your personal brand will not yield results. And that's just a fact. If you look at any mainstream person who is on the market right now, who you probably follow, including myself, they have these three things in place. And what it is one, their social media profiles or any profile that they have on the internet is optimized for conversions. What does that mean? They turn their profile into a landing page by actually having valuable content that showcases not only their accolades and achievements, is what a lot of people do, but actually showcase what is their call to action. Who do they serve? What do they give them? And why should someone work with them? They make it very clear that call to action. So when people go on that page, they know what to do to move forward with that person. The second thing is that they are very conscious of the fact that they have to build trust with the market. So they always have some type of live conversion event throughout the year. I share that, schedules is dependent on you and your routine. Some people want to engage with this on a part-time basis. Some people want to engage with this on a full-time basis. Some people want to integrate this as a part of their daily routine. But the point is that you have to prove your expertise and your experiences and your character to the world, right? And people sometimes don't really work with people just based on expertise. Sometimes they work with people just simple based on the vibe check as well. And so these live conversion events could be webinars, masterclasses like this one, live launches, programs, events, speaking engagements, podcast interviews. Obviously, you don't want to be dependent on invitations to speaking engagements and podcast interviews. You want to take control of your live conversion event opportunities by you hosting your own series. So for me, that's my weekly webinars. That's my monthly masterclasses. So that's me taking control of my output. And everything else is just secondary, right? Because I still get media interviews. I still get podcast opportunities. I still get speaking engagements on a regular basis. But that is the outside ecosystem giving me advice based on what availability they have. My weekly live webinars and my monthly masterclasses, that's me controlling my schedule and making sure that I'm putting myself out there to have a live conversion event to connect with my audience with real tangible insights and solutions to their problems. So that way, if they want to now proceed with step number 3, which is the offers I have to solve a tangible problem for them, they know I'm an expert in what I'm talking about. They know that I passed the vibe check, passed the expertise check, and also passed the commitment check. Because a lot of people, I've seen people rotate different ideas on the internet. One day they're gurus in tech, one day they're gurus in farming, one day they're gurus in media, one day they're gurus in puppet mastery. I mean, it's just random, right? This flywheel needs to be consistent on a regular basis. And if you are transitioning, which people do, right? I know early in my career, I was in finance and banking. I'm no longer in the banking community anymore, right? There's a transition, but the point is like when you make that transition, this flywheel comes into play. So these are the 3 parts that really positions you for opportunity and a real ROI with your personal brand. So I wanted to lay that foundation yesterday. And today is really us diving deeper in each one of these parts and how do you actually systemize this and actually act on this on a regular basis. And I want to start with optimization, right? So today, again, we're going to talk about those systems and how do we actually turn that visibility into income with repeatable marketing tactics that actually work. Okay. So again, I'm going to deep dive into what this blueprint actually looks like. Okay. So going back to this flywheel that I share with you is the system that I use, my clients use on a regular basis to really make sure that their personal brand is on point, make sure that the personal brand is relevant, but also returning an ROI in terms of profitability and opportunities. Okay. Because not everything is just money. Sometimes it's invitations, opportunities, it's all. Okay. And so while I transition to sharing with you the breakdown of all this, I wanted to share with you guys also. Someone asked me yesterday that, how do you actually leverage video clips? Because everyone's talking about video is king to share value and information. And I share video clips all the time, but that's not a live conversion event. A live conversion event is like what I'm doing right now in the flesh. And again, if I'm telling you this is the secret to success, like watch what I do. Do you see me do this on a regular basis? So I want to give you an example of a video clip that showcases my accolades and my achievements, but not necessarily is a conversion event, right? And so I'm going to show you a really quick clip about personal branding and just to give you a sense of what I mean when it comes to like you could have these clips circulating to keep you top of mind, but it's not a live conversion event. Check this out.
First thing you need to think about is being an expert. And what do I mean by being an expert? We already see what's happening where today, if you're not informed as to what is going on, the person next to you could have less experience, but if they're more informed, they will get ahead. And that is the knowledge truth. Keep in mind, there's now a digital economy. And so when you're trying to export your business, you're also exporting your story and you're exporting your expertise. Some people forget that sometimes you could teach your knowledge, your background, your story, and monetize that. So as an expert, the ones who are able to teach that information to their audiences, they get more partnerships, they get more marketing, they get more customers actually. And so I host like a lot of webinars online for free. I do a lot of videos, I do how-to tips. And so that expertise also builds my brand, which indirectly builds my business.
And I think that was a perfect clip to describe even interviews I do speaking on this subject, across media tours and speaking engagements that I do around the world, that you do have to get out there in front. And of course, these clips are great for visibility so I can stay in top of mind. So for those of you who asked that question yesterday, I saw it in the comment thread, like, so why do people always post content if it's not necessary? It's just so you stay top of mind. Okay. But I've seen a lot of people post a lot of content and video clips like this, and it is great. You stay on top of mind, but it's not converting people into taking action to work with you because you still have not crossed that trust barrier, that wall that people have nowadays, especially with all the craziness that has happened on the internet. You have not crossed that cross barrier. And the best way to do that is to have live conversion events like the one I just shared with you today. Right. And so with that said, I wanted to give you a tangible example to show you a video clip of that I probably would circulate on my social media pages to showcase like, hey, this is what I do, this is what I talk about. But again, it does not yield multiple results. Okay. There was a time when that did work, but now we live in a more mature society that understands the internet, understands marketing. Like even your clients have a different scope and perspective about being sold to, right? One thing that I candidly said yesterday, yes, I'm hosting this free live masterclass, but I am going to invite you to a paid workshop that I believe that will give you tangible, more in-depth results beyond this. You could take value from this as it is, but if you want to expedite your results, you want to accelerate your growth, you want to work with me in a more intimate capacity, this is the investment that requires to do that. And I have no shame in that. It's just being more upfront about that. And I know people come into these live free events with skepticism, but I think it's like if you build that trust with your audience to let them know, like, look, like I'm going to give you what I got, right? But if you want to have a more intimate experience, it does require investment because I'm still a businesswoman and an entrepreneur at the end of the day, and my time is valuable and my time is credible, right? So it's again doing the things that make people trust you. So when someone comes to your page, when it comes to optimization, how are you showcasing also a history of those live conversion events? So we'll get to that step in a second, but I just want to make sure that I answer that question from yesterday because it was a great one and I wanted to give a visible result. So going into optimization, right? Looking at LinkedIn and the power of one page. I love LinkedIn like crazy. LinkedIn to this day is still such a great source of opportunity for me. I've gotten speaking engagement invitation, media feature awards. I talk about LinkedIn on a regular basis. I have LinkedIn audit workshops. I audit people's LinkedIn on a regular basis. It is a great opportunity to showcase who you are, and you will get visibility because it's a platform. It's a highway of information, but also networks that you could tap into from around the world. And with that said, I want to reiterate yesterday, I shared a list of all the things that you could do to optimize your profile. But more importantly, in today's digital age, what I've seen and what I've done that has worked for me is like the 5 key areas that if you just switched it today will give you a huge boost in visibility and credibility. Is one, making sure your headline has your personal brand statement. If you go to my page, you'll see even before my title as a CEO of the global startup ecosystem, I tangibly say who I support, helping founders to monetize their business and personal brands online, right? That showcase and outlines why I'm worth talking to. That's the visibility. In the about section, I'm not just regurgitating my bio, I'm telling a story of like how I became who I am, and that helps to build trust and relatability. In my feature section, I'm very clear what my call to action is for people to work with me in a more deeper capacity. So I have a call to action for my consulting one-on-one sessions, for my speaking engagements, and any product that I'm selling. So a lot of people don't leverage their feature section. They usually have their feature section to showcase an award that they got, an achievement, maybe a media feature, and those things are great. But that's not going to automatically convert into paid opportunities or actual targeted goals that you may have, right? So you got to leverage your feature section as a commercial reel, right? Like now that I've seen the value from your headline, from your about section, what do you want me to do as a client to work with you further? That's where your featured section becomes that conversation. And the experience section is really just reinforcing that that traction and that proof of concept, because sometimes people might see a commercial but they're still skeptical, right? Again, you gotta treat your social media pages like a TV channel. So they've seen the commercial on your feature section, but they still like, look, I vibe your value statement, I vibe your about section. It's just like you are who you say you are, but I need more proof. So they go in your experience section, they see photos, portfolios, and links to see what you're about, testimonials. That's where you reinforce that. And of course, your activities is the ultimate factor. I'm going to share with you in a second, like a Google study that came out that if they're still skeptical after seeing all the traction and proof, which will happen on your page, they should be able to see the activities that you do to reinforce that value. So if I say I talk about personal branding and entrepreneurship on a regular basis, they should be able to go on my events and my activities and see, oh, she does weekly lives. Let me binge and watch through this. Oh, she just, she talks about this on social media. She has a newsletter. Like the person could literally within a week binge access my content and see like, oh, it's not about her social media posts, it's that she actually does that, and probably listen to a couple of videos, listen to a couple of my content messages, and make a decision like, look, I'm ready to go back to the feature section and take action with this individual. Do you see how that works? So that's optimization at work. A lot of you overcomplicate this process and you don't realize that that's as simple as it is. Changing these 5 updates. And in the Personal Brand Launch Academy, we walk through helping people to do that from scratch, to make sure that's at the most optimal level for SEO. But I'm sharing this with you because it's so important that you understand why this is relevant, because I'm trying to get you into the psyche of a potential client, potential stakeholder or partner who might want to work with you, but they're going through that decision-making process in order to make a decision to move forward with you, okay? So just wanted to share that. So going on to this Google study, I wanted to share the reason why it's important to have this optimized profile is because Google made a study that was really, really powerful about the 7-11-4 prophecy that people now need to binge or access at least 7 hours of content in order to truly build trust with a new influencer or a new mentor or a new coach or a new person before they actually work with them. And if you think about 7 hours of content, they could actually find that 7 hours of content over the course of 7 months, because maybe you're doing live masterclasses once a month. They could do it in 7 weeks because I'm doing the weekly webinars. Or you could combine the two and they could just go in your background feed and they could just binge and make a decision that way. That's the reason why you need content, not so much content to post on social media, like little video micro clips, like the example I showed you before, but more so content of value that showcases like what I'm doing right now, that I know my stuff. I'm very keenly aware of where people are facing challenges, and I've solved that challenge for many clients prior, including myself, right? And so it's very important that they have that 7 hours of content, especially in the binge Netflix society that we live in. But also they need to have different touch points. Not everyone makes emotional decisions in the same way. Some people need to see a video of you. Some people need to see you on social media. Some people need to see, a written newsletter. Some people need to see an article, right? Different touch points to be able to pretty much content variation to see how you communicate, because we don't know what's going to be the trigger for someone. It might be an email, might be a post, might be a video. And in 4 different areas, people need to feel like you're omnipresent almost, right? So they should be able to see consistency across your social media pages, your website, your email signature, so on and so forth. So this Google study was really tangible and powerful for a lot of content creators, entrepreneurs, influencers, and people who are essentially trying to build their personal brands online to understand that this is real. People need to really build trust for you, and that trust will take time. And you could short circuit that time frame if you have content of value to provide. And a lot of people, like I said, they post on social media all day, every day, but they don't have these basic fundamentals. And in the Personal Brand Launch Academy program that I host twice a year, I help people to build that content out in that blueprint, so that way they are creating that trust and demonstration to the public, so people can make really profound decisions in working with them going forward. Right. So with that said, in seeing that Google study, now I want to get into step 2 again and deep dive. What systems will you put in place? I share with you the 5 things you need to do for your optimization. So that way you check on that once or twice a year. Optimization doesn't take as much frequency. But for live conversion events, you got to think about, okay, make a decision as to how you want to engage the public and what consistency can you maintain, right? Because trust is also breaking that trust. Like if you are a TV channel and you say you're going to come on weekly and you don't come on weekly, you come on every 2 weeks, right? Or randomly you pop up after 3 weeks, that is actually breaking trust, because you gave people a schedule that you cannot maintain. And if you can't maintain the schedule of the conversations you want to have, how can I trust that you could actually be a value or service to my needs and challenges that I have, right? And so let's take it back to the power of virtual events, because obviously you could do in-person events, but in the digital space that we have, you have so much free opportunities to create virtual events. I mean, honestly, everyone could go live for free on social media. I don't know why people talk about all these crazy tools to get things done, but you don't need all the tools that people are telling you that you need. Like a free virtual program is very possible because there's no upfront cost required. You could do this by yourself. You don't need a major team. And you don't need complicated software. And all it takes is you doing 3 things: making a decision on the date that you want to do an event, the topic that you want to do to build trust and credibility, and the offer that you're going to offer as a call to action at the end of that conversation. So for me, the date that I chose was the date for this masterclass. That's the date I want to give people, like, hey, I'm going to show up live, and for 2 days, I'm going to talk about this. And the second thing is the topic. The topic that I believe will build trust and credibility is the one that they already told me they had the challenges. And in this case, it's a 3-part marketing strategy to rapidly grow your personal brand, right? And I'm sharing those insights with you. And the offer is my invitation for you to execute on that and accelerate your growth, accelerate your progress by working with me a little bit further through a 2-day workshop. Does that make sense? So these are the 3 things required to do a live event, and that's it. You could manage all this on a Word document, on a spreadsheet. Of course, you could leverage CRMs to be able to automate emails and do a campaign. Yes, you can. But essentially, you could do all that manually when you're getting started, just so you could get your feet wet. And the goal is to be able to make a commitment to yourself and to the public that you're going to show up at a certain time to talk about a certain problem and give them the opportunity or the invitation to work with you further. And that's only 3 things that are required. And if you keep doing this consistently in love, people are going to start to recognize you and have you top of mind to start working with you further. Okay. And we have a whole layout about, how to do a business model with this on a regular basis. Like when you start thinking about your content calendar, or what I would say live conversion calendar, we call them live launches. We talk about the full campaign, this whole scope. Don't overwhelm yourself. We go over in the Personal Brand Launch Academy, but I'm giving you a visual to let you know that you could start with those 3 basic steps. But as you get more mature in your personal brand and your evolution, you're going to start to see that could be something that's extremely lucrative. That's why people are doing 6 figures and 7 figures with their personal brand because they're able to have a phase launch where they're doing this on a repeated cycle and becomes now a business model for their personal brand. Okay. So with that said, right, going into part 3, which is the offer. Okay. This is where you've optimized your profile. You've shown the proof of who you are and what you do. You have committed yourself to try to solve problems for people by having live conversion events and addressing those challenges and giving solutions, giving feedback, giving insight of value that showcase that you are who you say you are when it comes to expertise. Now is the invitation to offer. And this is where I don't teach how to strong hand people. I don't teach how to deal with objections. I don't believe in that type of sales tactic. I believe if you have proven your merit and your worth and that people see the value in working with you, you are given invitations. It's a privilege for them to work with you because obviously we're all human beings at the end of the day and you can only do so much. So for me, I have a tangible number of people that I could take on every single year with my coaching services because I don't coach for time. I am a serial entrepreneur with multiple businesses. So I have a set number of people that I can support. So it's an invitation to work with me in a certain capacity, either through a workshop, through a course, through a live coaching program. I'm very clear on the value proposition that I bring. So I want to share that so that way you shift your thinking around offers and not think like, oh, I'm not a good salesperson. I'm not a good marketing person. Listen, you could be a chill, dorky, corny person who barely could speak on stage. But when you get on a virtual live and people can see the sincerity of who you are and you give them an invitation to work with you further, that's all you really need. Everything else is just tactics and strategies to optimize how you get more people and eyeballs on that invitation, right? But at the end of the day, it's just you being a human and just showing up live and say like, hey, if you got value from what I'm doing here, let's see if we could go a little bit further through this invitation, which is i.e. called an offer. Okay. So with that said, I want to take a step back because offers is really where the monetization happens. And this is where so many people get crazy about personal branding and they think like, oh, it's like a course or coaching. They think of the product, but they don't think of the process. Right. And I think it's really important that I emphasize how important it is to actually figure this out early in your career. Because the only thing that you could control in your career is your personal brand. Everything else, your business going sideways, your, getting let off from a company, those things have a lot of external factors to it. But your personal brand is one that could give you a lot of control. And so for those of you who are working, for example, a 9-to-5, or you're an entrepreneur and you have one stream of income, what happens when that source of income dries up, right? Obviously, for those of you who work, you can see the tangible way why it shouldn't be dependent on a corporation. But for my entrepreneurs, it's the same thing. A lot of you are trading the freedom of not working at a 9-to-5 with the pressure of being an entrepreneur, especially the first couple of years. It's still one stream of income. But with you building out your personal brand, you are opening doors of opportunity to create multiple streams of income. Right. And I'm not meaning you're doing 7 different things, but what you're doing is you're positioning yourself for multiple streams of income. So for example, I may not be creating content for every single speaking engagement that I get invited to. I have one signature talk and I get invited for that specific talk on a regular basis. That's multiple streams of income that's coming our way from one tangible product that I created. Same thing with my membership. Same thing with my coaching program. And then, by the way, I still get my salaries and my revenue from my different businesses, right? So it's really important that you understand that you don't want to be in, especially in today's economy and today's society, you don't want to be dependent on one revenue source. You want to create a real blanket of opportunity and a real forefront of positioning that your personal brand, only your personal brand could give you multiple streams of income and opportunities. It's really that simple, right? And so when you're thinking about revenue paths, this is where people start to focus on when it comes to monetization. People will tell you, oh, you could do consulting, you could do coaching, you could do courses, you could do a conference, you could do content, you could do brand partnerships. The list goes on and on. But you don't need to hear all the different ways that you need to monetize. I think right now, in the digital age that we live in, I think we're mature enough to know all the different ways to monetize your brand. You want to know the how, not the what, right? And so what I tend to tell people is, again, you got to really think about building a business model around the conversion events that you're doing. So for example, I don't look at social media as me posting to stay relevant. I look at social media as a way to reinforce people coming to my conversion events. So if I'm posting daily or weekly communication through my newsletter or social media, it's to get people to my weekly webinars or my monthly live masterclass sessions, because that's where I'm going to have the conversion event to turn people into community members, which is i.e. my clients that I stay in touch with. Because when they, come into my world, I tend to tell people, when you come into my world, I want to be your coach for life, right? Where as you grow, there will always be ways for me to consult, support, or mentor you through a season in your career. Because as an entrepreneur, I'm always in the market doing things, testing things, and working with multiple people. So these revenue cycles, again, it's a business model that we teach in the Personal Brand Launch Academy. But the point is, I just want to give you a visual that eventually you're going to keep doing a live conversion event on a consistent basis. And you're going to start to realize, I'm starting to get really good at creating a business model out of this cycle. And it's very simple, right? You want to launch a product to market. And some of you don't know what product to launch. Some of you don't know if you should do a coaching program, a consulting session, a course. Whatever you choose to do as a digital product or offer, it's you turning your experience, leveraging a journey that gave you a unique perspective, and sharing the secrets and strategies. What I see people do is that they try to tell people the fundamentals of something. We can research and find fundamentals everywhere. I mean, ChatGPT is at an all-time high. You cannot come into the market with BS, like simple shit that people can find everywhere. It just doesn't work. What you want to give people is something beyond what they can find. It's like, look, you figure something out, and the way things used to work don't work anymore, and you figure out a way to get past something, right? And that's what you're sharing. So, for example, for me, I recognize a lot of people are posting on social media and they're not getting any success, right? So a lot of you are coming with frustrations with your personal brand and you need solutions. I figured out the key with my personal brand, how to monetize on a consistent basis. My business model for my personal brand is consistent. It's now a business model, right? And so I'm sharing with you a part of that business model, but nevertheless, I'm giving you something that you can't just find on ChatGPT. You cannot find on a basic webinar or a basic search on Google. Like, you need to have a conversation with me, engage with me and my content, my lives, to be able to have access to that information. And that's what you're giving. And I just want to clarify what an offer is, because I think the market has gotten so saturated with nonsense that people think, oh, well, this person is doing this. Those people usually don't last very long. You want to give something tangible beyond the surface level, right? And eventually, when you get really good at giving people honest, sincere content that really works and solves their problems, you're able to create a whole product suite to take that person and continue that person on that journey. So obviously, one of the invitations I'm going to give you guys at the end of this masterclass is to be able to launch your first product offer. After you do that, what will be the next step? Well, if you want to be able to market and scale that product, I have another invitation to share with you where I'm doing a live coaching experience for several weeks to help you do that, right? And then if you're like, look, now I've been through that program, I'm doing really well, I need to connect with other entrepreneurs who are doing it. I have a VIP retreat experience I do every single year where I can take people behind the scenes to see not only my life as an entrepreneur, but how I actually do it. How do I actually manage this in real time, right? And so that value ladder gets better and better over the time. But the point is, it's like it starts with you having an invitation offer in the first place. And this is my product suite, for example, of things that I have, where I go from a free masterclass or a free template to my personal brand program, my entrepreneur icon retreat. Like, the value proposition goes on and on and on. And some things I could retire, some things I could continue, some programs I revamp, and I always do revamp it to keep things relevant, because things are getting so outdated now. That's part of the reason why I'm one of the few influencers who like to do live workshops and live coaching experiences, because I want to be able to answer questions and support challenges in real time. I'm very passionate about that because, again, a strategy that might be working right now might be outdated tomorrow. So I'm very particular when people come into my role, I give them time-sensitive strategies that work and keep them updated on the nuances of how to apply that on a regular basis, right? So I don't toot my own horn and stick to a method and that's it. And so all of that kicks off with you being able to have a conversion experience. And that usually is in the form of a webinar. Okay. And so with that said, to drill this down even more, when you're doing a product offer, right, it usually has a very powerful title that tells people tangibly what they're going to get. I'm going to share with you the title of my workshop at the end of this program, right? And a description of what they're going to get. and how long it's going to take for them to get the outcome that they're looking for, and why it's important. What I've found is that a lot of people say all the reasons why it's a good program, but not being very clear on just, again, what do they get, what's the investment, and why should they join in, right? Why is this time sensitive right now? So this template, we have a bunch of templates in the Personal Brand Launch Academy, but this is just to simplify for you a visual about how to describe that offer in just one sentence or less. So that way it forces you to be very clear, direct, and to the point. Because too many times I see people ramble and do a whole essay to describe a product they want to launch, and I'm left more confused than I started. Like, this is how you could come with clarity. You don't need a huge book launch to announce a product to the market, right? And eventually, we usually go over these spreadsheets in the workshop as well, where we talk about, how to forecast based on live conversions that you're doing. So I have different live conversions, like my free masterclass, an info session, and what I expect to happen based on each one of these conversion events. And eventually, like I said, it becomes a business model where you're just pretty much just running the numbers and doing it, not only to build profitability with your personal brand, but more importantly, that you're staying relevant and you're staying time sensitive and committed to your audience who want solutions to their challenges in a timely way. So you're in the market supporting in that way. And when I look at my calendar specifically, I always tell people less is more. I don't do anything to just overwhelm myself. I don't create chaos or just overwhelm. I try my best to really just leave the window open and make sure that, I have a calendar that's very succinct. I do have a dashboard. I use Kajabi for my personal brand. So every day I'm able to check that dashboard and be able to follow up with clients and see where we're at with that. Check my email, see what's going on, check my LinkedIn stats. But overall, those things don't get complicated when it becomes like a daily 5-minute routine check, right? Where every day for like 5 to 10 minutes, I'm just checking the stats and the KPIs. But at the end of the day, I commit the bulk of my time, 80%, to creating solutions for people's problems, right? And what that means is like, what should I talk about at the next live? What are people asking me? And at that live, okay, I gave them the foundational knowledge that they need to just go off live and they'll come back and give me testimonials. But there are some people who just like, look, like I want to walk through, I want a demonstration, I want an execution partner for this. And I make sure to give for those people that come on the live that still wants that execution partner, I'm able to give them an invitation because not everyone wants to do it themselves. Some people want an execution partner, and that's where I come in with the offers that I have to be able to help them to execute. So all of this is just so synchronized. And when you do this in a systematic way, you start to see traction and momentum. So to round it up, okay, this 3-part system is meant to not only simplify your approach, but also really help you unlearn the nonsense that you've been told about personal branding and how to market and monetize your personal brand. After today, I don't want you thinking that you need to do all the things to monetize your brand. All you need is a daily schedule. And that daily schedule is all about making sure that is my profile optimized? Cool. When is my next live conversion event? Is it next week? Is it next month? Sticking to a calendar and sticking to consistency. So if I say I'm going to do a weekly live, that's about 50 plus webinars that I'm going to be using as live conversion opportunities. If I say I'm going to do monthly live classes, that's 12 live masterclass sessions I'm going to do on an annual basis. If I say I'm going to do quarterly big campaign programs or conferences and retreats, that's 4 different times for me to be able to convert my audience at another capacity. So just by looking at the 50 plus 12 plus 4, that is the frequency, okay, of live conversion events that I'm committing to in the year 2025, for example, to convert people and introduce them to not only my offer, but be top of mind as someone that people can turn to for expertise. That is it, right? Now, you could scale it back if you feel that's not possible. Maybe you want to come on live every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. But the point is, the frequency is up to you. The schedule is up to you. But what's not up to you is you not taking control of how you monetize and engage your audience. And some of you feel overwhelmed and overstimulated with all the different software products that are required to just stay relevant in today's society. And you feel like you have burnout and you're not getting the conversions that you need. Less is more. I already said before, I'm a mother of 4. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a farmer. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I do all the things to live my life the way I designed it to be. I am not about this burnout culture, this hustle culture of madness. Maybe because I'm a little bit older in my 20s, I was crazy about don't stop till you sleep. Don't keep, I was about that life. But I realized that when I have more time to reflect on what I want to commit to and align myself with the content and the conversations I want to have in the market, it actually gets a lot easier to maintain this system. And this is something you can implement tomorrow. This is not hard to do. It's not hard for you to do the 5 checklists I shared, to do the optimization. It's not hard for you to make a decision on how many times you want to go live. And it's not hard for you to say, I'm going to launch a product to offer. Where the experimentation takes place is like, okay, how should I title the live event? How should I phrase, my bio on my LinkedIn profile? How should I call this offer? Which offer strategy should I use? Should I do courses, coaching? And I know you're probably overwhelming yourself with all those different questions. And this is where, long-term coaching solutions like my personal brand launch academy comes in, which I'll be opening up live in the next week or two. Or just take the first step. I always tell people, if you feel overwhelmed by the gateway of opportunities coming to you, take a step back and take just the first step. And the first step for me to all of you is launch an offer, right? So with that said, now that you have that blueprint, I do want to give you guys, again, a final invitation to be able to join me for the virtual workshop invitation, where the entire goal of this workshop opportunity is for you to launch a digital product. If anyone has been a part of this digital workshop, please feel free to comment on the chat, because it is really an intensive hour and a half each day for 2 days where I literally walk you through and give you feedback. We are working on a Word document, y'all. I'm not on a PowerPoint presentation. We are taking action, taking live action on you launching a product. We're thinking of your title. We're thinking of your strategy. We're making decisions on what is the best thing for you to launch. Should you do coaching? Should you do consulting courses based on your time and expertise, your bandwidth, your comfort level, your excitement, your energy, your roadmap, your goals? We look at that tangibly, which is why I have a set number of seats for people to join. So I will be putting the link on the chat again for those of you who want to join and be a part of that. And the offer in terms of the price expires by the end of this evening. So that way you guys are aware of that. But it is a great opportunity for you to, again, take the first step, launch an offer to market, and get started on this immediately. So as you're running this 3-part system, you're able to see some tangible results as quickly as possible. Okay. Now, with that said, this offer is only available at this price point today, and it does go up double the price. Do not email the account, ask for a discount. It won't happen. We will move on. Okay. Now, with that said, I would love to take on any questions, any LinkedIn profiles. And of course, on the second half of today, for those who are part of the workshop, we have a private Zoom session for those who are part of the workshop. So if you even book right now, you could join that private conversation. It usually goes over an hour, by the way. Yesterday went over for a long time. I think we went in for like another hour and a half after the session. It was supposed to be 30 minutes, but we went in for an hour and a half just answering questions. I did live LinkedIn audits during that session. It was a really great opportunity for people to just be able to say, okay, decode what we talked about in the live masterclass. So that was really great. But tangibly speaking, we have come towards the end of a 2-day live where I share with you this system that will be so beneficial to you. Okay, so beneficial to you in so many ways. And what I want to say to you guys is that this 3-part marketing system works not only because it's simple, it works because it speaks to the status of the market that we're living in today. And I want to keep stressing this again. The world has changed, okay? You feel it, you see it, you know it, okay? In your soul, in your body, the world has changed. People are more skeptical. People have more trust walls up. People are more concerning and discerning with their time and their money. I mean, to hell with the money, even for their time, right? People no longer just show up for anything anymore. They want to make sure that you are saying what you're going to do, right? And so with that said, this system helps you stay top of mind, helps you build trust in a, not even just an affordable way, in a free way, right? And be able to see what people need by offering them these invitations to things that you know could solve people's problems strategically and realistically, right? And so in the world that we're living in today, this system will help ground you. It will help you also have tangible KPIs to look forward to when it comes to your personal brand on a consistent schedule. Because what I see a lot of people do, and the last thing I'll do now that I'm taking on questions, is that you don't want to be scatterbrained with your personal brand. You don't want to be doing random things this quarter and then you slow down and no one sees from you. And what I see a lot of people do is they do a lot of random things, right? And they get confused why it's not converting, right? What this three-part system, marketing system does, the reason why it rapidly grows your brand so well, and what it's done for me and my clients, is that it helps me stay on focus. It gives me a call to action that I need to be doing on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, and on an annual basis. It keeps me focused. So when I go, apologies. So when I get, drift off, maybe someone showcases like, hey, this is new strategy. Whatever I see in the market, I'm still able to take a step back and assess, like, is this part of the growth plan that I have for my personal brand? And is my personal brand yielding results? Okay. So very important that you understand that with this system that I share with you over the past 2 days. So to summarize, I'm going to go back to the personal brand flywheel again. As you conclude this live masterclass and you think about the next steps for you and your personal brand and your career in general, I want you to take control. I want you to be excited of the possibilities you're going to create for yourself as an individual, as an entrepreneur, as an influencer in this digital space. I want you to accept that the path is simple, but it will require you to commit to it, right? Because I think we have a lot of like instant gratification experiences that we've lost sight of working towards something and getting the results, even if it is the hard way. Obviously, this is a shortcut. At the same time, it requires you to step up. It requires you to actually show up to your audience. I'm not sugarcoating it with you. Some of you probably thought I was going to talk about AI automation. I didn't do that. The most critical part of this three-part system is the live conversion of that. Like, people need to see you. People need to connect and build trust. Everything else won't work. You cannot offer people reasons to work with you if they don't have reasons to at least listen to you and see that you are who you are. So I want to conclude by giving you excitement, energy, and fire to do this. It is so time sensitive for you to do this right now. What you need to be asking yourself, because personal branding could be a nefarious thing that we just postpone to the races later on in life. What is it costing you right now to not figure this out? What is it costing you every time you don't have an optimized social media profile in terms of speaking engagements, personal deals that you could be getting, contract invitations you could be closing, right? What is it costing you in terms of career progression with your business? Is your business accelerating at the pace that you expected it to because people barely know you as a CEO outside of your business, right? What is it costing you to take time and not commit to your personal brand strategy today? What is it costing you in terms of life goals where you're maybe trying to make personal goals on the side, like build a family, buy a house, scale your wealth? What is it costing you to not figure out the ways to create multiple streams of wealth for yourself because you're postponing this decision to build on your personal brand? And the last but not least, what is it costing you to not figure out this system and implement it to simplify your life to avoid burnout? Because what the biggest challenge I see entrepreneurs face, and every entrepreneur on this call can tell me the truth on this, we are probably one of the fastest professions to experience burnout really quickly because we do so much in our businesses that even taking on the idea of now looking at the execution strategy for our personal brand overwhelms us. So what is the price of burnout right now where you are now depleted yourself? Because it's important. It's on your mind 24/7, but you're depleting yourself and not making yourself available to take your career and your life to the next level. I know many of you are high achievers, and I know many of you are very, very committed to your brand and to your business, to your mission. But you got to pace yourself, and you got to do it in a way that creates simplicity, execution, and actual tangible results. And this 3-part system will give you those results. We'll double down on this system through the workshop where I will show you how to implement it with your offer, right? But I know when someone has a tangible offer that they're proud of, and this is why I'm taking 2 days for the workshop to show you how to do that, they go back into the market with vim, energy, and confidence like never before, because it's been stretched out to the point where we have walked you through what will work individually for you as an entrepreneur. Okay. So again, I want to invite you to the workshop invitation that will take place live with me personally, not with my team, but live with me, workshop through Word documents and all. We're going to do this live. This invitation expires this evening at midnight. So don't miss out on the opportunity. The link is in the chat. To my LinkedIn people, we will send you the link as well. I know some of you have been asking about that, but this is your invitation, your call to action to join me. Okay. So without further ado, my team is now going to get ready to support. Many of you are coming on live in the next couple of minutes. But again, it's been a true honor and pleasure to share the strategy with you. That's been such a great eye-opener and such a great success for me, my brand, and the clients that I serve. I just wanted to, support and give that insight to all of you who are all trying to figure out a way forward with your personal brand in a way that not only accelerates growth, but gives you pride and joy. And there's nothing beautiful to see your personal brand manifest the goals and the aspirations and the dreams that you want to make a reality in this world. So I'm so excited that I had the opportunity to work with you guys for the past 2 days. My name is Christine and Tim. Always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much. Of course, you can email the team with any questions regarding this program and how you could get involved. Of course, you can always direct DM me via LinkedIn if you have any further questions. And with that, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure and honor to have you guys with me during these live sessions. Best of luck. Christine and Tim, over and out. Welcome, everyone, to the Personal Brand Accelerator Program. We're going to talk about really the who, what, when, where, how of personal branding. Personal branding, in many ways, is an ongoing process, right? Because you are practicing, you're developing, you're manifesting yourself over time as you grow and develop as a person within your career. Today, we're transitioning from the personal branding fundamentals to now building your personal branding foundation, right? You can't position yourself for opportunity unless you understand your motivations and what is your capacity. Now, at the very beginning, you should always be experimenting with your brand and engaging with the world, just trying to find out, okay, what experiments do you need to run to see where you need to be? There are a million different ways to make money with your personal brand, but you either got to do what is your biggest strength right now, right? Or you do where the most resources are available. A lot of people, when they're trying to monetize their personal brand, they focus on bucket 4 and 5. Right? Where they're working with people to get speaking engagements, contracts. You're doing a lot of external activities to get that clout from the community to pay you for certain works. A lot of times people confuse marketing and sales to be the same thing, right? This is the reason why a lot of people, they have a personal brand. Let's say they got as far as they create a free or paid product like a course or a retreat or a session, and they're putting it out there. They're quote unquote marketing it. They're promoting it. They're blasting it, but they're not monetizing. They're not making money. And part of the reason why is because they did not combine their marketing strategy with their sales strategy. But I could give you all the systems all day long, but it's up to you to turn it into a routine. And that does require checklists. It does require you really having the discipline to execute on that routine. So much has happened over the past couple of weeks. You have learned so much from start to finish. The best way I could end this is by saying that, look, like a lot of people wait their entire life to try to figure this out. You have the unique opportunity where you have this content for life, right? You have this journey for life where you are now given a blueprint to constantly keep upping your brand, keep accelerating your career, keep creating value, and also creating multiple streams of income for yourself, in addition to any of the fundamental work that you do.
Christine and Tim.
Christine Sofran Nitim.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.